Hello, everyone. This morning, I discovered the answer to something I've long wondered, and it has to do with a difference between developing locally, in this case in SvelteKit, and deploying the SvelteKit application on Netlify. Now, it doesn't have anything specific to do with Svelte or SvelteKit, but you're going to see some Svelte code, so get ready. What's the difference? Well, if you look at the right of my screen, this window, we see almost the same thing on the left, which is in production at albertawellfinder.com. But if you look closely, you'll notice some differences. Aside from the obvious of the avatar being René the Curious and having a different picture because of a different user account, if you look at the typography, and if you don't look at the typography, you should. the right side is using a heavier weight font than the left side, which is production. And in fact, they're different fonts. How do we know? Well, let's open Dev Tools in both windows and compare. So on the right side, we'll start in localhost. We can see, here, let's just inspect again. There we go. Oops, try that again. Inspect. We see that title, and in fact all of the text and on the page and on the website, is being rendered as a San Francisco Pro, SF Pro, which is an Apple font. But if we look at production, it's not. It's the first one is Inter, whatever that is, and then SF Pro. Why the difference? Same app.css file, and yet in production it's different than in localhost in development. Digging a little deeper, and in fact, what I did is leaned on Claude AI to help me understand what the difference was. And to do so, I did four things. I copy-pasted the app.css from my editor, which is VS Code. The entire thing. This is, by the way, very helpful, as I've mentioned before, with database schema and other things. And also worth pointing out the route or the path of the file at the top. This helps the models understand intent a little bit better. At least that's been my experience. So the same app.css, as you see here, pasted into Claude, along with screenshots of the DevTools windows. Okay? Yes, because Claude and many of the models can read images. They can read the text encoded in the images. And so what you just saw earlier is here. Left side, right side. Yes, in that order. And so I asked, when developing my SvelteKit app locally, the fonts render as SF Pro. But when I deploy a Netlify production, they render as Helvetica Neue. Can you explain why? Like, what is happening? How can I enforce SF Pro for both localhost and production? And it's amazing. So it read all of the stuff that I gave it, and then my question, and it was right. Basically, the difference in font rendering between your local development environment and production is due to the availability of fonts in different systems. Now, I still didn't understand why it should matter, because in both cases, I am looking at the web page with the same laptop, which has all the fonts. So why is it preferring one over the other? Well, it explains. Something happens when Netlify is building. I think it's actually npm run build. If you know for sure, I think it's a rollup or a Vite thing, please answer in the comments below. In any case, I did find the workaround, and that's down below. It gave me a few options. I love this about Claude, and it's using artifacts, so updated font stack. So it first suggested this, which is okay. This actually totally works. And then using hosted fonts, which I don't like because, as we all know, Google uses their fonts to track user behavior. So if you're fine with that, great. Otherwise, if you want more privacy for your application and your users, I liked its fourth option, which is define a CSS variable for the fonts that we want to use, starting with SF Pro. And then if you're not on a Mac, it'll go to maybe more of a Windows-friendly or Android-friendly font family, and then use that in the body. And that's what I did. So if we go back to my editor, and I'll replay les couleurs, so root, okay, And then I realize, oh, I have it twice. Okay, copied in, and then down below a body. And I'm using font family, font sans, or sans. And lo and behold, the result, once deployed to Netlify, is we have now the same type in both places. So by virtue of not specifying a font in my body, I don't know, the production version chooses for me, regardless of the machine I'm on or the fonts I have installed. But if adding a little bit of specificity, after that, we get the same look and feel. And I personally quite like San Francisco Pro, SF Pro, as a font, because it's the default font family of the Mac, so your websites and web apps look consistent with the OS. There's another difference here which isn't obvious. I made the contrast a little bit greater between the font and the background, which is something that Netlify does suggest when you do a deployment. It will, let's see if I can find it. It has this lovely feature of after a deployment telling you how you're doing. So for example, for accessibility, I'm a little bit down. I know the reason for it, so I'm going to get close to 100%, but it will show you why. And so I have a meta tag that it doesn't like for certain users who maybe have low vision, and then the contrast ratio. So it's still complaining, but I haven't pushed to main yet. So yes, if you find the fonts look different between localhost, dev, and production, check out your app.css and just increase the specificity in root and in body, and you should be good to go. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.